Welcome back, sellers, to this explainer. Today, we're diving into something that is, honestly, a total game changer for how you manage your online shop. For years, sellers have been practically begging for more precision, right? We've all wanted more control over where exactly those advertising dollars go. Well, the 2026 Etsy Ads Update is finally here, and it's massive. We're going to explore these brand new listing strategies together step by step to see how they can absolutely maximize your shop's profit potential. We'll break down everything you need to know straight from the latest updates so we can finally stop guessing and start leveraging that ad spend with real pinpoint accuracy. Let's get right to it. Okay, let's dive into this. Ask yourself honestly, is your Etsy ads budget just being wasted on the wrong products? Look, we've all been there. You set up your daily budget, you cross your fingers, and you just kind of hope for the best. But then you look at your analytics and bam, you realize a huge chunk of your hard-earned ad budget was completely burned on low-profit items, or maybe products that really didn't even need the extra push to begin with. It is so incredibly frustrating to watch your budget literally drain away without getting the return on investment you deserve. Well, the good news is this new update is designed specifically to solve this exact pain point. To really appreciate how big of a deal this is, we gotta look at the old system versus the new system. Under the old rules, you were stuck. You could only choose one blanket strategy for your entire ads campaign. That meant if you wanted aggressive visibility, Etsy applied it to everything. Your absolute best-selling handmade bracelet and your cheap, low-margin keychain, they shared the exact same ad strategy. It was a totally blunt instrument. But this new 2026 system, oh, it's a whole new world. It gives you individual strategies for every single listing. You now have the actual power to tell the algorithm exactly how to handle each unique product in your inventory, basing it all on its specific profit margin and your unique goals. Now, before we jump into the actual strategies themselves, we need to talk about the golden rule for unlocking this feature. The magic number here is $25. This advanced listing strategy feature is only available to sellers who have a daily Etsy ads budget of exactly $25 or more. So if you're currently operating on the lower tiers, like 5, 10, or 20 bucks a day, you actually won't see these options pop up in your dashboard. What this means is you really need to evaluate if stepping up your daily budget to that $25 threshold makes sense for your business, because unlocking this level of granular control could be absolutely crucial. All right, assuming you meet that budget requirement, you now have 3 incredibly powerful strategies right at your fingertips. The first one is called greater visibility. When you select this for a listing, you are basically giving Etsy the green light to go aggressive. The primary objective here is maximum reach. The algorithm is going to optimize your product to get it in front of the absolute maximum number of buyers possible. It's all about driving up those impressions, maximizing your reach, and funneling high volumes of traffic directly to that specific listing. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly when you should deploy that aggressive strategy. Because greater visibility isn't for everything, right? It's a specialized tool. Imagine you've just launched a brand new personalized leather wallet. Nobody knows it exists yet. You need eyes on it and fast to build up that critical momentum. This strategy is perfect for that. It's also amazingly powerful for high-demand seasonal items. If you have a Mother's Day gift box, you have a very short, specific window to capture massive traffic. Applying greater visibility makes sure you dominate those search results right when buyer intent is peaking. And, of course, it works absolute wonders to pour gasoline on the fire of your established bestsellers. But hey, what if you don't want to be aggressive? What if you actually need to be protective? Well, that brings us to our second strategy, lower click cost. Think of this strategy as a financial shield for your shop. When you apply this to a listing, Etsy completely shifts its optimization goal away from maximum reach and instead focuses entirely on minimizing your cost per click, or CPC. The whole point of this setting is to save your budget and rigorously protect those thin profit margins by only bidding on the cheaper, more cost-effective ad placements. Why is this so incredibly vital? Well, think about a low-margin item. Let's say you have a simple keychain you sell for $8, where your actual profit is only $2. In the old system, if you got a few expensive clicks at, say, $1 each, your entire profit margin for that item would vanish instantly. No way we want that. By assigning lower click cost to that keychain, you ensure the algorithm is not going to overspend on those clicks, keeping that slim $2 profit completely intact. It's also the absolute perfect strategy for inventory where you have highly limited stock. Say you only have 15 pieces left, and you definitely don't want to blow a massive budget on them. Or for general clearance items where you just want to slowly recoup your costs. Then we have the third option, which is efficient spending. Think of this as the reliable middle ground. And actually, this is the default strategy. When you select efficient spending, you're asking Etsy to find the perfect equilibrium between reaching buyers and controlling your ad costs. It's not overly aggressive like greater visibility, but it's also not strictly restrictive like lower click cost. It aims for a really balanced, steady, non-aggressive performance that just hums along consistently in the background. You really want to use efficient spending for the backbone of your shop. We're talking about your steady, year-round sellers. Think of a product like a classic wooden photo frame. It's a reliable item, it sells consistently throughout all of the seasons, it has a healthy but maybe not massive profit margin, and it faces pretty moderate, normal competition. You don't need to force it into the spotlight, but you also definitely don't want to throttle its ad spend completely. Efficient spending keeps everyday products like this moving predictably without requiring you to constantly micromanage the risk. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how this all comes together into a cohesive master plan. This table maps out exactly how a smart seller will categorize their inventory using the new system. Notice how the high-profit bestseller necklace and the unknown profit new mug design both get the greater visibility strategy, but for completely different reasons. One is to maximize proven sales, while the other is to launch successfully. Then, look at the cheap sticker pack with a low profit. It immediately gets locked down with lower click costs to save money. And the handmade candle, with its medium profit and balanced growth goal, sits perfectly right there in efficient spending. Finally, the wedding invitation leverages greater visibility just for that seasonal festival rush. Honestly, this is what true ad optimization looks like. So, how exactly does this work behind the scenes? Well, it's a beautifully straightforward two-step process. First, you take the wheel. You select a strategy at the listing level, which explicitly tells Etsy what your top priority is for that specific product, whether that's reach, cost control, or balance. Second, Etsy's ad system takes that direct command and optimizes its targeting algorithm based exclusively on your stated goal. You're no longer just hoping the system understands your business. You are literally giving it direct, explicit instructions product by product. It's brilliant. Of course, setting a strategy is really only half the battle. You have to measure the results. To actually evaluate if your new granular strategies are driving profitability, you absolutely must monitor these key performance metrics. You need to watch your impressions and clicks to see if greater visibility is actually generating that traffic. You need to track your click-through rate and your cost per click to ensure your lower click cost strategy is truly keeping prices down. And ultimately, everything comes down to orders, conversion rate, and your return on ad spend, or ROAS. Those numbers, they'll tell you the undeniable truth about your ad performance. But here is a massive word of warning, straight from the source. So the crucial point is this: do not make immediate decisions. Observe a strategy's performance for at least 30 days before changing it. This is direct advice from Etsy folks. The algorithm requires time to test, learn, and optimize. If you change your strategy every 3 days just because you aren't seeing instant results, you will completely ruin the machine learning phase. You've got to be patient. Set your strategy, let the data accumulate for a full 30 days, and only then make your adjustments based on the solid metrics we just discussed. While patience is key, proactive planning is just as critical. Here is a pro tip that can absolutely make or break your revenue for the year. Audit and review your listing strategies right before major shopping seasons. Think about back to school, Mother's Day, or the huge Christmas holiday season. Your efficient spending strategy from July might just not be aggressive enough for Black Friday, right? You need to go into your dashboard before the traffic spikes and shift your seasonal items into greater visibility to make sure you capture that massive, temporary wave of eager buyers. Let's move to the recap and see how this builds into an incredible competitive advantage for your shop. Just by meeting that $25 daily budget threshold, you unlock the ability to assign a unique ad strategy to every individual listing. This means you can finally maximize the visibility of your heavy-hitting bestsellers while strictly controlling the bleeding costs on your low-profit products. You're no longer just wasting money. You're optimizing your entire shop's daily budget with laser precision. And after that 30-day learning period is up, you have the total flexibility to pivot your strategies based on real hard performance data. It's a whole new era for managing your products, and the power is finally in your hands. So I'll leave you with this question to really think about. Which product in your shop will get the greater visibility strategy today? Think about that hidden gem or that brand new launch sitting in your inventory right now. Open up your dashboard, take a look at your budget, and start giving your listings the specific, targeted strategies they need to really thrive. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and happy selling.